background down. Ha! Look at that. I remembered. Hee hee. Hi, Locke'ms. Danger nap too close to the sun. Whoopsies. So I got a soda for some caffeine. I was like, cause I woke up at like what, 4? I woke up at 4 after sleeping early yesterday, and I'm like, I can stay up. I totally can stay up. I couldn't stay up. It didn't happen. I went back to bed. So, whoopsie. Hi, Locke'ms. Hi, Papa. Hi, Bria. Hi, Gamer. And then for whatever reason, it's being rude to YouTube. It always takes a second for the YouTube chats to come in. Hi, Lucario. Whoa, hi, Nimby. Hello, Mauricio. Yeah, you predicted it. You predicted it, yeah. Okay, hopefully. What's up, Blaze? Hi. I will never not, like, cackle at that name. Because it's quite cackling, material. Let me really quick. I feel like I should throw up a picture of the book. Let me see if I even remembered. Like if I don't remember if I downloaded a picture of the book or if I just like copy pasted it into. Oh my gosh! Thank you for resubbing. Thank you, thank you. I do need to fix that. It shouldn't be that picture. It's okay. That's okay if you didn't read the book. Goodness, death. I don't think I actually downloaded a picture of the book. I think I just copy and pasted it into Canva. I definitely think that's what happened with Canva. Okay, let's go here. I might need to fake forged in fire images. Let's see. I do that. Save image as. And then if I do this, by the way, you had a dream with me. You dreamt of me. Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay. We put that right there. We put it right here. Yeah. Okay. Haha. Really, it blocks the like Twitter thing, but that's okay. I moved something instead on accident. Daily ara. Oh, I do see it. I appreciate you like pointing out, hey, I did the redeem, because it's really hard for me to see the redeem sometimes, and so I do appreciate the chat. Hey, I did it. So here's your daily ara. Wait. You see? Okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm like, what is that on my screen? So you got your morning. All right. You lost. What did you lose? How did you lose? Why did you lose? Midnight? I'm confused. Oh! Okay. Let's see. You lost the game? Did you lose the game? Is that yeah, you lost the game. All of you lost the game. I lost the game. We all lost the game. Let me real quick see here. Is Is YouTube alive? Let me real quick double check because it keeps on doing weird. It's doing weird things, and I want to make sure it's okay. My channel is alive. Is it alive? Is it alive? It alive? It alive! Yay! Whoever released the game is going to... Why would you spank my head? Okay. Sure. That... Okay. Why not? But... That... Why? That's just... Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna say okay a whole bunch of times because... Yeah. The placement of that is, you know, interesting. So, on to book club. Well, it was, Jesus, this book brought me through a roller coaster. So essentially, like, at the beginning of the book, you meet Amira. She is the, oh, loud truck. Amira is the rightful queen of Chirchena. And, because essentially it's always been a matriarchy until like 100 years ago, the clan, that, yeah, it's Aemyra is her name. But essentially, like, the clan she comes from, hasn't had a daughter in the last, like, 100 years. It's only been males, so, like, they basically, like, when no female heirs were born 100 years ago, it was basically said, it'll go down to the first son unless a female heir comes, like, is born out of any of the families. So, like, if there's, like, the branches of families, like cousins, yada yada. Is it really the sausage what? Lol. Yeah, so they don't have any daughters until she's born. She's like born to a distant prince type of thing. And so like her dad's the Prince of Penrith, I think, if I remember correctly. And so she's rightfully supposed to be the queen, but the current king at the time is a mad king. Like, he's crazy, like murderous crazy. And so essentially her dad's like, okay, I cannot claim her as my rightful daughter. I'll hide her because otherwise she will be killed. And like, she has a twin brother as well. It gave you a giggle. Yeah. He's just a bit quirky. Murder. So quirky. And so she and her twin brother are like raised as adoptive kids to the palace healer and a blacksmith in the castle of Penrith until they're like 16, and then they go into the main city in the capital, and like the blacksmith starts blacksmithing, the healer becomes like a midwife, etc., and her twin brother are just they just are normal peasants. They're just raised as peasants by their adoptive parents, and so the wife is mid. Yeah. And so it's like she learns blacksmithing from her dad, from her adoptive dad, and through this whole time she's been sword fighting, and like she wins against her twin brother, and so like she's just training to one day, once her actual dad gets a coup set up. Oh gosh, that's it. That message almost got complete. Greetings. I have been going from stream to stream and requesting from each, humbly and hopefully, to other 10 egg rolls or pasta. Would you please allow me to gain such delights that I could possibly endorse endorse? I'm assuming it's probably supposed to be endorse. myself in endless seams of joy. Would you like some chicken Alfredo? I do like that. Pasta. Delicious. Welcome, Kobo. But, creepy, you could have some chicken Alfredo? Hell yeah, you can have chicken Alfredo. Yeah. Ew, caviar? No, we don't. Papa's lying again. We don't have caviar. Blech. Blech. No fish eggs. No. Let's actually go. Myra, what did you eat last night? Did I eat? Hi, Laser. So, okay, after Arby's was bad, so little switching over to story time of last night. So I got hi Hal. I didn't eat corn dogs, Mia. I don't have mayo chups, so I don't want to eat them yet. I have to go to the store and get mayo chup. I don't have sauce for them, so I was sad. But Myra, we're gonna have to make so I got Arby's and they had new steak bite things. They're disgusting and taste absolutely gross. I like Arby's like chicken nuggets essentially. And I did eat the mozzarella sticks I got along with it. And mozzarella technically as a cheese has protein. But then I had an apple pie shake because they had an apple fucking pie shake. Like, what? And so the... Hi! Hi, Morris, welcome. But fucking, yeah, steak bites were disgusting, so I threw them out. And so everyone's like, alright, well, what you gonna eat now? I'm like, I don't know. I literally ordered food because there wasn't stuff in my house I wanted to eat. So I went to bed instead. I think I went to sleep at like 10 last night. Cause like I had a... If I keep talking, Locke'ns are gonna get more mad at me. So I feel like I don't want to keep talking. I did say they'd like to be dry and rubbery. They were, and they're gross. Ordering Arby's is a big 25 is a choice. Yeah, like, hi Flapjack, welcome. Oh, continue? Come here, I'm gonna paint your horse with nail polish. My head's been pounding for the longest season. I am so sorry. My head was pounding last night too. I always have a headache, which might have been because I needed more food or hydration. Might have been one of those. Or I might have slept wrong. Who knows? But I had a headache, and I'm like, I should probably eat to get rid of this headache, which is why I got the Arby's. But then I didn't eat the Arby's. So I took painkillers and went to bed instead. Oh no, don't cough. I head pat you. But, god damn it, Myra. My headache went away by the time I woke up. At 4 a.m. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I had a bowl of cereal when I woke up at 4 a.m. with protein milk. So I ate this morning at 4 a.m. And then I watched some anime and I got really sidetracked, and then I went from the couch to the bed and I passed out. I passed out. I danger napped. I was trying not to danger nap, okay? I didn't want to danger nap. No, it was not Frosted Flakes. It was Special K yogurt and the fruit yogurt Special K, because it's really delicious and it's like the only cereal I've been eating for the past like 3 months. I just keep on buying it because it's so good. But yeah, Special K fruit yogurt cereal. With protein milk. And so it was very delicious. And right now, hey, look at this. I have a protein bar. for after my danger nap. I woke up. Time for coffee bucket again. No, because then I'm not sleeping tonight, and I need to sleep tonight because I have work in the morning. I'm going to loudly open this. Look at that. I'm eating. See? It's all good now. Everything's fine. Yeah, go to bed. Yeah. Go to bed. Yum, 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 yum. So, back to the book. So, Myra's raised a blacksmith daughter, and her father finally, and so, like, the whole plan is, like, once the Mad King dies, oh, well, good, I'm glad you're in bed. So essentially, like, in this world, there's magic. There's elemental magic, like, her family has fire magic from the goddess, Bridget. And then there's, like, water, earth, and wind magic from other goddesses. And you're a Dulik. Dulik? I think? Yeah. If you have power of, with magic. And so, in Cherchena, probably basically, like, druidic, probably. Because it's based on Celtic, Celtic, what the fuck? Celtic, my brain go, blah, 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 blah. It's Celtic, origin story type stuff, like, base of the story, so probably druid. I listened to it, so I have no clue, what it was spelled as. Why would I be Earth? What the hell? What? No. And so, essentially, like, you can bond to, a creature. Like, a phoenix. Like, I think her mom was bonded to, essentially, a phoenix. And other creatures like that. Did you know Halloween is based on, Celtic Fire Festival? Hell yeah! Hell yeah! It's like, yeah. I don't remember. Oh. But yeah. And then, so essentially, like, there's only 3 dragons left alive. And so, her dad is bonded to one dragon, the king is bonded to another, and the second prince is bonded to the third. So not the heir, but the second prince is bonded to the third dragon left alive. And so, essentially, like, once the Mad King's dead, the plan was once he dies, she goes and bonds to that dragon. Like, it's the oldest of the 3 dragons. And so she bonds to it, and then ta-da! Like, she comes out as, hey, I'm the female heir of the Darkhathian line. Literally, it definitely has some, like, House of Dragon vibes. Like, Game of Thrones type of shit. And so it's like, haha, I'm bonded to the dragon, I am the female heir, therefore, like, accept me as queen, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, king dies. Drunk first prince, ends up on the mountain at the same time as her, trying to get the dragon. Well, thank you so much, J-Flip, for being my Locke'n. And so she has to run away from the dragon. Like, the dragon flies away because there's too many people and it's just, nah. And so then, like, shit happens, and, essentially, like, she declares herself and reveals herself at the king's funeral, and shit goes south. Like, the queen, wants her dad, and obviously wants her son on the throne and everything, and, like, all this shit, and there's a truce declared for the week of mourning. Yeah, nah. And so the high priestess, who has already declared her loyalty to Myra, is like, I'll go talk to the queen. It will be fine. I'm close with the queen's family, yada yada. I was literally just there this morning preparing the king's body for burial. So High Priestess, yeah, it'll be fine. High Priestess goes, and then that night, like, she goes, Amir's like, only with guards. You have to go with guards. And at night, she looks out from the temple window and sees the priestess alone sprinting back across the bridge from the castle. And she's like, oh shit. So she runs down from the temple tower to go to the front gates, and like the priestess is there, and she's like, the priests of the chosen are there, and then gets shot through the back and killed with an arrow. Yep. Definitely, it was a death flag. It was 100% a death flag. And so essentially in this world, like, there's Chirchena, is one, like, kingdom, and there's other kingdoms, and one of them was taken over by, the priests of the true religion, is what they call it, the chosen of the true religion. Essentially, they don't like the Dulik, and magic, and it's a taint, and the goddesses is a taint. The savior, you must believe in the savior. And so essentially they come in, and I guess they've whittled their way into the castle and through the queen. And so the queen follows the true religion, and they have thousands of Covenanters in the castle, ready to fight and keep the throne. And essentially ready to take out and take over the kingdom for the true religion, and like kill the Dulik, and just, it's bad. And like, so it's supposed to be a matriarchy here, but the Dulik are patriarchy, and women are only there to breed. You're only there to have babies, and you must listen to your husbands, and blah 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 blah. Like, horrible. And so essentially, like, yeah, it sucks. Oh boy, yeah. And so, like, she has to run. And so it's like, okay, we have to get out, we'll have to regroup. And so her dad's like, everyone out. They only had 50 Dulik, in the city. And, like, they couldn't fight against 1,000 Covenanters and the city guard and everything. So they're trying to get her out, back to the ship, and escape. And she is like, no, I have to go try again to get bonded to the dragon. The second son prince, he was there trying to get his older brother to bond to the dragon. And like, he's one of the most powerful Dulik there are, because like, when you bond, like, he bonded to a dragon, of course he's really powerful. Her base magic, even without being bonded, is almost as strong as his bond to a dragon. So like, she's the most powerful Dulik alive, unbonded. And so like, once she's bonded to, like, her hope is once she's bonded to dragon, she'll automatically then be the most powerful, period. And so she and her twin brother go and try to get to the dragon again. They get chased by Covenanters, and they're like, we can't. Like, we'll be killed if we don't get out. And so they turn around off the mountain, go to the ship, and then they end up getting chased by the second prince. Oh my gosh, Fiorian. His name is Fiorian. And so the second prince, Fiorian, is chasing them on horseback, shooting arrows at them. And they finally get to the boat, but she's like, they're gonna get caught. And so she's like, brother, get on, I'll fight him. So he gets off his horse to fight her honorably instead of like shooting her from far away. And so then they have a fight. She wins. She like gets him down and like shoves his head into the ground, like just shoves it down, but she lets him live. And well, then the golden dragon comes with the new king. He ended up bonded to the dragon. So the first prince ended up bonded to the big dragon. And it's like, well, fuck. And so she gets on the boat, and her family go back to Penrith Castle. And so essentially, like, it's like, what the fuck do we do? Our whole plan is fucked. Like, there's no more dragon. And like, even more so than wanting to be queen, she wanted to be bonded to a goddamn dragon. That's always been, like, she watched her father and her father's dragon, and their bond. And, like, that's always been her thing. Girl dad going to die or give up the dragon. Yeah. Hi, Virtuoso. Hello. And so, essentially, they get back to Penrith. And so, there's always been a legend of the Terror. This black dragon that terrorized for hundreds of years, but like however many decades ago, it just disappeared. Well, the terror's not dead. It's actually pretty close. So essentially, while in Penrith, there's news of a small village getting burnt. And being attacked by Covenanters. So her brother's assigned to go fight it, and she's like, nah, I'm fucking going too. And so she goes with her brother. Everyone's dead. Like, literally, the Covenanters, like, locked people in their houses and set them on fire type of shit. Like, they just killed this whole village. But then there's a dead Covenanter burned in the middle of the village. And then she realizes, she like goes behind the village over this like hill and just sees everything's burnt to the ground. There was like an army of Covenanters just all razed to the ground. And she's like, the terror lives. And so she's like, okay, there's like tops of trees broken so she can kind of like tell where the terror went. So she's like, brother, go back. If I don't come back in, I'm not a god. No, I'm a police officer, and this is my interrogation room. See, police. My uniform says police of the Promisu Metro City Police Department. and so she's like, if I don't come back in however many days, assume I'm dead. And she goes, climbs a fucking mountain to get to the terror. And then when she finally gets there, she's like, this standoff type of thing. She doesn't know how to claim Biek. So bonded, is what I'm assuming. And so she doesn't know how to form a bond. And like the dragon starts trying to kill her and roast her. And she's just trying to like dodge fucking dragon flames. Cause like the fire magic protects against normal magic and normal fire, but it does not protect against dragon flames. And so she's trying to not get set on fire. And then she realizes, like, it's not a black dragon, it's a purple dragon. It's so dark that like the amethyst color, like she sees the amethyst eyes, and she's like, oh my gosh, the terror's not even black, it's a purple dragon. And absolutely gorgeous. And like the lighter purple in some of the softer places. It's very gorgeous terror. And then I do not get trained. I'm not that kind of dragon. But yeah, and so she just kind of is about to accept death in the face of the flames. And then, yeah, she notices the tail of the terror only has 4 spikes. Male dragons have 6 spikes. It's the last female dragon. like, dragonkind was going out. There's no more eggs, like, there's no more female dragons was the assumption, because there was only 3 dragons, all of them were male, and they always thought the Terror was a male, too. The Terror is a female dragon, and bonds to her. And so when it bonds, the 4th member, is a purple dragon, they basically, like, bond and have, like, a mind link type of thing. They can't talk, but they can share, like, emotions and memory and senses, and so she can, like, kind of see and feel the hundreds of years of this dragon's life. Like, the Terror is the oldest dragon, much older than Koreath, which is the golden dragon that the king has. And just sadness. There's so much sadness in this dragon because, like, she's just seeing what the kingdom, like, this is her kingdom too. This dragon killed all the Covenanters because it's her kingdom and she wants to protect it too. And it's supposed to be matriarchy, but the guys have taken over, so she basically left waiting for the next true queen. And so she's bonded now to the true queen. And so it's really, really cool. And she then flies to Penrith Castle and she names her Terea, because, Terror. And so Terea takes her to Penrith Castle and is like, haha, I have a dragon. And so then they, like, plan on going back, and then, so her adoptive family didn't get on the boat. They weren't able to get on the boat before it left. So she's been worried, and then when she comes back, there's a letter. Her family's dead. They were killed by the royal family. Like, it said that the second prince, Fiorian, his dragon burnt them all to death. And so, her adopted family. Like, she was raised by a different family to hide that she's a princess or the true queen, for her protection. So her adoptive family and her little brother, that literally, like, her little brother that she brought into this world is 10-year-old little boy, dead. And so she just, absolute rage, when they're trying to move their troops and everything, she hops on Terea, and she finds out, she gets word of where Fiorian is, hops on Terea, and goes into a trap. And so she's captured. He knocks her out, and she's brought to Cherchena, back to the city and into the castle. Hi, Bison! Welcome. And so, she gets captured, and unfortunately, the Covenanters, the evil dudes, they have this substance that seals magic, so she can't use her magic or anything. And, like, in the castle, it's horrible. Like, it's horrible. It's bad. Like, the queen has her brought up from the dungeons. Like, she spends, like, a day or two rotting and passed out in the dungeons until the queen's like, no, she's a princess. Bring her to a room and she will marry Fiorian. And so, basically trying to use her as a pawn of, oh, her dad, Prince Dad, you can't attack us because we have your daughter. And then she's forced to marry Fiorian, who killed her family. And later she finds out that he didn't. He's not bonded to his dragon in the same way that she is, like, sharing emotions and everything. So the dragon kind of just shot out fire, and it killed her dad, and her little brother had escaped handcuffs, or the ropes, and was running toward the dad and was caught in the crossfire. And her mom was alive. And then her mom was killed because they find out that she's bonded because she stops eating so that she can use her magic again, and it was stronger this time. So they knew she was bonded. And so they're like, oh, that she must be bonded to a baby dragon. There was an egg. And so they're like, call your dragon. And she's like, no. And it's like, here's your adoptive mother with a knife to her throat. Call your dragon. So Terea comes, and they're like, oh shit. Put her on a heel. Put her, stop her from doing anything. And she does. And then the lead Father Alfred or whatever, kills her mom anyways. Just kills her mom right in front of her. Bleeds out, like, or not. I think it was actually the captain of the guard, Sir Nairn, kills her mom. So she thought her mom was dead. Finds out she's not dead, and then 15 minutes later watches her die. It's fucked up. And so like she and then her lover from, like, she was with the bar owner, Sorsha, and so she didn't want her to be killed, and so she basically stayed there instead of leaving with the dragon and getting out. She didn't want Sorsha to die, and so she stayed in the castle and is married to Furion. And it's just a lot of ay. And so then, like, she finds out that, like, Furion didn't actually kill her family. Like, he didn't make the order to kill him. Like, it wasn't technically his fault. It was his dragon's fault, not his fault. And so, like, there's like the enemies to lover thing going on, to where, like, he has some good redeeming traits, and he protects her from, like, the Covenanters and his brother, who's just, his brother starts going crazy, because essentially they realize that the Mad King only went mad because he was bonded to the dragon. That dragon had been bonded to like 5 people before, and it's mind, because it's mind linking with these people, and then when they die, it's like fracturing its mind. And so, having been bonded to so many, the dragon is who's mad, and then its madness causes the kings to go mad, and so immediately the new king is going cray. Like, at one point he's just stabbing up guards for fucking funsies. Like, he was an alcoholic before, now he's fucking mad, alcoholic, and murderous. And so Furion's like, you won't go mad, it's okay. And so Furion's like, eventually seeing just how bad his brother is, and it's like, his brother will not be a good king for the people. And like, Furion cares about the kingdom and the people, and so does Amira. Amira wants to be a queen for the people. And so in the castle, the children of the king and his brothers start dying. Like, they get sick and are dying, and the firstborn of the new king dies, and they're all blaming Amira. Like, it's her fault. It's her fault. She's poisoning them. And she's like, oh, fucking no, I'm not. I can help them if you let me see them. I was trained by the best healer, which you just fucking murdered. And so Furion finally lets her see his nephew, and it's intentional poisoning. And she knows it's bitter berries. And so normally you eat a berry, you're dead. But like, a diluted poison has been being given to them, making them slowly die. And she's able to counteract it with charcoal, herbs and stuff. And then obviously they're not allowed to eat anything coming from the kitchens anymore, because they don't know who's poisoning. And so literally only like 2 trusted people are allowed to give them food, and then they recover. And so like, Furion and her like come to an understanding and everything, and he's handsome, and so like they end up becoming lovers. And she's like, he's like, you are my queen, I will stand with you. And he helps her escape from the castle with Sorsha on Terea. And so she's free and goes back, because her father had brought the troops real close. And so she goes and is like, Furion's going to open the gates, and we will be able to march on the city peacefully and take over. And this is towards like the very end of the book. So, like, I feel like I don't even need to say spoilers. It's book club. I'm gonna be talking about the book. Spoilers. Getting to the end of the book. And so she goes with, they take only like 5,000 troops towards the city. The gates aren't open. There's archers on the walls, and Koreath, the golden dragon, and the king are fighting and burning them. So, like, her father and his dragon are fighting against Koreath, and the troops are getting her, and she's like, where's Fjorien? Where's Fjorien and Afer, his blue dragon? She's like, what's going on? Did they kill him? Did they have him captured? Like, what's going on? She was supposed to kill Heir Alfred. Cause essentially, okay, so I skipped over, like, the worst part of this fucking book. She comes to her room and is ambushed by Heir Alfred, the leader of the high priest of the Covenanters, and the guard captain in her room. And there's, like, an incense throughout the room, and it's magic binding. So not only can they bind her magic through an additive to her food, but they can make it airborne in an incense. And so she loses her magic and then is overpowered by them, strapped down, and 4 priests go, and they're like, so that her, the curse of her evil magic can never be passed down. They were literally going to give her a hysterectomy, or at least just slice up her inside so she can never bear a child. And obviously it's old-timey. There's no sedatives. They just hold her down as a dude starts shoving in, he get like a knife up her, and she's screaming, and Fjorien comes and kills the guy who had the knife. You know, I was listening to it as I was driving into work. It was so fucking hard to listen to. It was so fucking hard to listen to, because she's just screaming like this. And so he kills the guy. Some of them, like, there was a secret opening in the wall into her the bedroom that she didn't know about, and so, like, 3 of them run through there. Fjorien beheads the other guy, and then she grabs a sword and just runs to kill Sir Nairn. And she does. She avenges her mother's death, and then finally kills Sir Nairn. And then Fjorien's like, I'm getting you out. It's not safe for you. And Fjorien's like, I'm getting you out. And she's like, you have to kill out Sir Alfred, because he's the one who did this. And he's like, abso-fucking-lutely, I'm gonna kill that bastard. And so when she comes back, it's like, did it fail? Was he not able to kill him? What happened? Did they take away his magic? And so, they're able to, like, they break the wall. The dragons break the wall so that her army can come in. And she and her dad and brother get into the castle, and they're like, they're probably hiding in the throne room. They get to the throne room. Fjorien's sitting on the throne. Oh, I forgot they killed the king. They killed the king and his dragon, in a fight between Terea, Koreath, and her dad's dragon. So her and her dad's dragon are able to take out Koreath and kill him and the king. And so then they get into the city, get to the throne room, and Fjorien's sitting on the throne. Yeah. So he's proclaiming himself king. So essentially, there's a spy. Her dad had a spy, and her dad's spy was the one poisoning the children. So Fjorien is told by Alfred and believes in everything that she had part in it, that she was actively killing the children. And it's like, no wonder she knew what the poison was so quickly, because she was orchestrating it. And so Fjorien believes her to have been killing his nephews, and that everything was a lie, and that she didn't want any good. And so, like, when she had left, there was an army of 30,000 men on the field that were the king's men, and then she had 10,000, and she had ordered her people not to fight. Her dad went against it. Her dad had them fight and kill. So those she didn't want fight. She didn't want bloodshed, because even though they're the soldiers of the king, they're still her people. They're still people of Koreath, or of Koreath's the fucking dragon, of goodness, Cherchena. So they're still her people, and she didn't want them to fight. But her dad's kind of a war dude. Like, he wants war. He wants fighting. He relishes in fighting. So, like, he had lied and said, I didn't have anything to do. I mourned the children's death. It wasn't me. No, it was. And then he ordered her people, her army, to fight and kill. And so because of what her father did, Furion thought it was all her. And so because of her father's bloodthirstiness, Furion is turned against her. And they take away, instead of incense or anything in this last scene, they Heir Alfred throws down this liquid that when it touched on them, if she summoned up magic, it feels like her whole skin is boiling off. So it's she can't use her magic because it just burns her. It feels like she's dying if she tries to use magic. And so she's not able to fight back, and neither is her brother or her father. And the Covenanter priests stab her brother, and like, she's like, if I fight back, they're gonna kill my twin. So she's not fighting back, and like everything it's all like, it's unfortunately miscommunication and people believing things that aren't true and not knowing the real truth and not accepting, hey, that's not actually the truth. And so her dragon breaks through the wall, and she and her brother are able to get out on Terea. And as she's leaving, because at this point she's convinced herself that everything all of Furion's goodness was a lie as well. He's too comfortable on that throne. And so she's just like, nah, he was conning her this whole time, trying to be like, make her fall in love, and then she'll be easy under your foot. And so he believes the worst of her, she believes the worst of him, and she makes a blood oath. She cuts her hand open and makes a blood oath that she will kill him. It's a death oath. That there's magic in this world. They can feel the magic of the oath settle in. That she will kill him. And so they leave on the dragon, and his dragon, the blue Aether, he's younger, and so Terea is the dominant, obviously, dragon. And so the blue dragon stops on the city, the bridge to the city, and prevents the Covenanters from leaving the castle to attack her people so that they can retreat. So the blue dragon, his dragon, is protecting their retreat. But then, so there's got to be more stuff in here, because he finally, before, his dragon burnt her family because they don't have the bond of feelings and understanding. She helped him make that bond with his dragon. So the dragon wouldn't be going against him to prevent the Covenanters and do the retreat. So I don't think Furion's actually bad. I don't know. There's a lot, because that's kind of where the book ends. Is she's flying away, and she has the line of her fate was forged in fire, and she'll come out the queen. And so yeah. And so there's but now she has a blood oath to kill him, and they're yeah, it's freaking, it was enemies to forced marriage to lovers, and then back to fucking enemies, and not even just enemies, but fucking blood oath murder enemies. The book was just so much. There's so much, and it's really, really good. So I definitely think, goodness, you should read it. You can either read it or if you have Spotify Premium, it's Spotify Premium includes audiobooks. I think like 8 hours of audiobooks a month. And I was able to listen to the whole book on Spotify Premium without paying extra. And the audiobook's really good because the gal who's narrating it is Scottish, and so like has the Scottish accent and everything and saying everything correctly. And it's really good. And so it's definitely worth it. And so I'm probably gonna read you got to chapter 7. Hey, you at least got a good portion in, yeah. I'm gonna have another bite of nom nom. She sounds like your aunt. Yeah, and so it's a very good book. Highly recommend. So, I'm not gonna do book club this month of November. I might do a December book club to where I'll decide a book now and they give 2 months to read. Mostly because like 1 month to read a book, even I struggled listening to it. And I like finishing it on time. And like September's I still haven't finished. And it's like, I'm busy, Locke'ns are busy. 1 month to read a book in busy life. It's a little hard. And so I'm gonna do December. None of us sleep. And so I'll pick a book this month for December. I'll throw out little reminders and stuff. But now we must find a book for the November, December book club. Okay. I'm gonna go through Amazon because that's where I get all my stuff on. You wanted small books? I originally wanted to try and find a smaller book, but like 400 pages is the average of books that I normally read. And most of the time it's longer, like 500 or 600. Like this one was 416 pages. Let me see. Oh, there's a coupon price right now on Amazon. Might just be American Amazon, but if you clip this coupon, it's only $11.89 right now. Okay, yeah, it came out in May. So there isn't a second book. I should have realized it said book 1 of 1 bonded to beasts, which means it's supposed to be a series. And there's not a second book. Fuck. I wanted to read a completed series or a book that didn't have... Damn it. Oops. Whoopsie. So yeah, with it being just having come out in May, might be hard to find internationally. I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry. I had, did not really... I saw Amira spelt Myra and was like, oh my god, I just have to. I didn't, like, pay attention to the rest of the stuff, like, it just came out. Let's see. Products related to this item. Oh, fire bird. Thorns and fire. Born in fire. So many. Bonds of Hercules, a dark romantasy, enemies to lover, spicy romance novel inspired by Greek mythology. Huh. Interesting. Thorns and Fire, an epic fantasy romance. The Ashes of Thesmar. Book 2. Okay, wouldn't want a book 2. Feathers So Vicious, a dark fantasy romance. Court of Rain. I don't really want I don't want a dark one, because like listening to the part where they were gonna like cut out her womb made me want to barf. I couldn't. It was oh, it was so fucking bad. It was so fucking bad. It was not okay. What's this? A Bond That Burns. So it's also bonding to dragon, it seems like. Let me... Bloodwing Academy. So it's, yeah, there isn't a second book to this one, to Fate, Fortune, Fire yet. She's probably writing it. Let me see. This is like a deluxe version of the book, because it was suggesting deluxe versions. Stenciled edges, custom end papers, and a jacket with metallic effects. Ooh. Okay. Ooh, Pendragon. Welcome to Bloodwing Academy. Expect magic, expect competition, expect blood. I love Academy stuff. Don't forget, there's the Zodiac Academy, which so many people are like, oh my god, it's so good, it's right. Like, freaking Book Talk was like, oh my god, Zodiac Academy, like, dark romancy, oh, good shit. I got to book 6, and there's like 18 books, and I'm like, I might have only gotten to book 5. I don't remember, 5 or 6, and I'm just like, I can't. I truly cannot. I read, like, the end of the book, oh, it was so fucking bad. It was so fucking bad. Because it's like, it's basically like, oh, you're fated mates. But you have to accept the mate bond. Like, you're I don't want to say fated mates. It's, what's the normal word for it that's not fucking that? I'm Googling the normal word for fated mates. What is the soulmate? They're soulmates. That's the word. They're soulmates. They're soulmates, and they're meant to be, but you have to accept, like, you have to, when the moment comes that it's like, you guys know that you're soulmates, and the stars are saying, ah, you have to accept it. The main gal, so it's like 2 sisters, and so there's the 2 main sisters. One of them says, fuck that, no. And then she whines like a little baby for the whole rest of the fucking everything, and I'm like, no, you chose it. Yeah, you ripped out your own goddamn heart. It hurts. You're now a whiny baby. Shut the fuck up. And so it's like, I get why she didn't, because in the first like 3 books, like, he at one point literally tries to kill her. It's not great. It's toxic. It's bad. But I couldn't deal with her going from the strong, independent, fuck you woman to, I'm a whiny baby, Taylor, my heart's ripped out. Pissed me off, so I stopped reading it. But, I like Academy books. Wait, Myra, something good to say. Hell yeah. Nice. Megalodons! Bah, 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 bah. Yeah, so, what is it? Welcome to Bloodwing Academy. Expect magic, expect competition, expect blood. I didn't sign up for this. A half-fate in a school of high-blood vampires? That's a recipe for suffering. I'm Medra Pendragon, one of the last dragon riders. Or so they tell me. Funny thing is, there's no dragons left. Not a single one. But somehow that hasn't stopped the vampires from deciding I'm worth capturing. Now I'm stuck at Bloodwing Academy, where the High Bloods run everything. And Blightborn like me, we're just blood in their veins, pawns in their games. But that's not even the worst part. Enter Blake Drakharo. Like D-R-A-K and then H-A-R-R-O-W. Drakharo. Yeah, Blake Drakharo, cold, arrogant, and way too gorgeous for his own good. He's been tormenting me since the moment we met, and now, thanks to some ancient ritual, we're betrothed. He acts like he owns me, but I'm not going down with that fight. Bloodwing isn't just a school, it's a battlefield. Highbloods fight for power, and if you're weak, you're dead. Between deadly competitions, lies that could get me executed, and a dragon-shaped secret looming over my head, all I have to do is survive. Easy, right? Except, I'm starting to think the real danger isn't the academy. It's what I'm becoming, this twisted game of power. And Blake, he might be the one who plunges me over the edge. They think they can control me. They think they can use me. But they have no idea what they've awakened. For fans of Enemies to Lover, Dark Academia, Morally Grey Men, Forced Proximity, Vampires and Dragon Riders, and it's Fourth Wing meets A Court of Thorn and Roses with a hint of Vampire Academy. Interesting. It's like 600 pages. But hey, we have 2 months to read it. And like, I don't recognize this cover because it's the deluxe version, but I'm pretty sure on Wings of Blood, it's been one that I've seen on Book Talk so fucking much. There's a German edition. I'm trying to find like what the old cover looked like, but I cannot. Or maybe it's just different from what I was thinking. I really, like, I get why books will be republished with new covers and stuff, but it makes it annoying when it's like, wait, no, I liked that cover. Why is it all different now? I don't want that. Let me real quick open up Spotify too to see, because I kind of do want it to be on Spotify so I can listen to it. Okay, it is. Let me see. What do you get if you mix Harry Potter with Fourth Wing, Zodiac Academy, and dash of Arthurian legend, and lots of vampires? That's the description of the book. Okay, so it is on Spotify. So if you have Spotify Premium, you can listen to it. Let's listen to the preview. Let's see if I can.
The leaves were turning color when he found me.
I don't think I can listen to that voice. Kind of sounds whiny.
The last vestiges of summer were fleeing as my imprisonment began. I had died destroying a corrupt god in my own world. I had sacrificed to save the ones I loved.
The fuck?
I had gone willingly to my end. I had gone with no regrets. And I had expected the end to stay the end. Fate was cruel. I took my first gasping breath, feeling my soul fluttering violently about within my body, as if uncertain it had a true place there, before finally settling uncomfortably, as if unwillingly accepting we were stuck here together. But where was here? This was not my world. This was not Arcanum. I could sense that from the very air. It reeked with the tinge of iron and ash, blood and death. With a groan, I shifted my weight, the movement sending ripples of pain down my back. Something was pinning my legs down. I stirred again, and this time glanced downwards. A chill ran through me. Not something, someone. Someone dead lay atop me, weighing me down. I took a deep breath to steady myself, but that only made it worse as the scent of the decay filled my nostrils more strongly. I gagged. My ears pricked at a faint sound.
Legit, what the fuck
Then
is happening?
came another. I strained to decipher the muffled murmurs. Footsteps marched against hard ground. People were coming. I sat up and pushed at the heavy body that had fallen over my legs, struggling to free myself. Should I call for help, or hope they'd pass by without seeing me? The voices were growing closer. Abruptly, a figure appeared on the edge of my vision, bouncing up the mounds of bodies like a large weasel. It was a man, small and wiry. He had a smirk upon his lips, revealing a row of rat-like yellow teeth.
Ew.
I lay still, hoping he would think me just another dead body on the heap. But it was too late. He must have caught my movement before I'd seen him. With a quick, ratish leap, he was on top of me, pinning me down. I could smell the stink of his rancid breath as he lowered his face to mine and sniffed long and deep. "Barnabas!" The voice cracked the air like a whip, loud, deep, commanding. The man sitting astride me froze, his face torn in indecision. "Yes, master." His voice became like the slithering of serpents, odious and simpering.
Gross.
"What have you found?" An intake of breath. The man's face was very close to my ear.
Previously.
What the fuck? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The fuck was going on? Like, that, the fact that that's the sample just, like, thrown you into what the fuck's going on? I don't know. I don't know. So, interesting. Huh. Very interesting. So, like, she's not from this world, so it's a soul put into a, I don't know. I'm intrigued, but also I'm not the biggest fan of the VA. I don't know. I will keep looking for more books. Let's see. Something flutters every time you see me, Hal. Is it your heart going pitter-patter? Let's see. Books. Tell me what books I should read. Ooh. Tell me what books I should read. Did the new book of this come out? Did it? Oh, please. Please, yes? When did this come out? November 11th, 2020. It comes out in... It comes out on the 11th. It comes out next week. So Dark King's Tiding is a book series that I really, really love. And the 7th book comes out in a week. Fuck. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be reading that. Ooh, what's this? Spellbreaker, a progression fantasy adventure, Arcane Academy. Fix. The book, the art on the front of the book looks really cool. So, did you come out? Book 1 of 4. Oh, how did they all already come out? The first one says it came out in April. How the hell did they have 3 more books since then? It might have been the author, like, wrote all the books, and then they finally got published and whatnot. I don't know. But this is Spellbreaker, a progression fantasy adventure, Arcane Academy, Book 1. He's not here to learn. He's here to rewrite the rules. For 2 centuries, Darren Morin was one of the most powerful mages in existence, a master of forbidden magic and feared across the realm. But betrayal ended everything. Now he wakes up, 18 years old, again. Stripped of power, trapped in a ruthless magic academy, mocked by classmates who call him moron. This time, he's weaker. This time, they think he's no threat. This time, they're dead wrong. He remembers every secret, every spell, every betrayal, and he's going to use it all to rise again and to make sure they regret underestimating him. Because Darren didn't survive centuries of power by being merciful. And he's not starting now. Oh! It's a regression book. It's a regression book. It's a go back in time. It's a die and I only ever see these in like freaking manhwas and anime and stuff and comics. I never actually see books of this. Okay, well, most of the manhwas are based off of web novels, but like web novels versus a book, different. Web novels are like chapter release stuff. I've never actually really read web novels, because I feel like they're not too big in like America, or maybe I'm just not in the right spheres for it. But ooh, regression. It's gonna feel like anime, and I like that. Let me see. Actually, I'm wondering if this is a book that might have been web novels and then published. Who knows? But it's written by A.P. Gore and Patricia Jones, so I don't think so. But like products related to these items, like suggested stuff, looks like second son of the 34th. Like definitely some web novel type books. Cultivation Nerd, Second Chance Swordman. Yeah. The Battlefield Reclaimer. It's all the isekai and regression books. Oh, and it's only 330 pages, so it's not super long. There's 3 books. And then the 4th one comes out in January, which works great if we read this one for December. Wyrm was a really big web novel, if I remember. I'm not sure what that is. I don't read books like these. I only read fan fictions. But yeah, freaking, this seems right up my alley. Like, right up my alley. It's like the type of manhwa and anime I read and watch, so. Spellbreaker. Trying to see if the audiobook is on, is on, Spotify. Like, the book itself it's like $15, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's $0. The Kindle version's $5. Like the physical is $15, Kindle's $5. Kindle Unlimited is free. It's included in Kindle Unlimited. The audiobook with membership to Audible is 99 cents, but Audible's like $18 a month, where it's like, you're making cheap audiobooks more expensive by the membership fees. Let's see. Oh, hell yeah. A progression fantasy. Yes, it is. Okay. See all episodes. What do you mean episodes? Explore your day with a thought-provoking full audiobook. Oh, so this is like, please visit thebookvoice.com/podcast to download full audiobooks of your choice for free. Explore. Okay. So there's like some thebookvoice.com, which it seems like you can get it for free. Not quite sure if it's the most legal way of getting it. Especially like this one, the picture says only on Audible. So it's definitely not the most free way like that. Ew, books. Books are amazing. I don't know what you're talking about, Amaranth. Well,
If it's general, I can help you, patron. His tone turned smooth, losing the jolliness he'd displayed a moment before. But if you need something confidential, I can take you to the right person. Nothing confidential. Darren leaned forward, his fingers lightly tapping the table's edge. I just need information about the tea house next to the mayor's palace. How can one own the tea house near the palace? Is that place available for the right price?
I'm not sure I like I'm really picky with narrators. It's hard, okay? It's hard. I'm really picky.
The waiter's tense shoulders eased up, and he swirled the plate on his fingers with a practiced efficiency, the polished metal edges catching the light from the lanterns. Only this much.
Yeah, so like this is the sample of this book.
The cost of an ale will do, sir. He gave a smug smile of earning easy money. Darren reached into his pocket and pushed a small metal piece equivalent to 1/10 of a lumen across the table. The coin made a soft clink as it hit the wooden surface.
I'm so sorry if it's really loud. So sorry.
That place is owned by an influential person named Dongra, the waiter confided, leaning in. He has ties with the mayor's son, real ties, so the mayor allows him to do business there. I think the guards even look after his tea house. If you want to set up something near the walls, you won't get permission. Darren's eyes narrowed, so it was something fishy.
Okay, so it's performed by Matt Hicks and Aaron Bateman. So there's a second voice. Oh yes, I sound so manly. So there's a second narrator in this as well. So there must be a female character that comes in. Or maybe it's like, I don't know.
As expected.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I just might not audiobook it. It's short enough, and 2 months gives me time to read it during lunch, I think. Let me read sample. If I read sample, then it's fine. Here, I will read a sample of chapter 1. Much better, right? Right? I think that's better. I think we'll all enjoy that a lot better. Let's see. Let us see. Chapter 1, Awakening. A sharp tap, like the pounding of his heart, jolted Darren awake. Blinding light seared his eyes, blending with the memory of a spell, a death spell, racing towards him. His breath hitched. Was he dead? Welcome back to the land of the living, Mr. Morin. A deep, exasperated voice boomed. A broad figure... Wow, words are hard. A broad figure loomed over him, a man in a white gown and a black shawl, his crooked nose almost comically large. Who? Darren squinted upward, wincing as a dull pain pulsed at the base of his skull. Was this his familiar? He didn't seem like one. Your teacher, Mr. Colin Woolens. The man's crooked nose dominated his round face as he pushed wire-rimmed glasses back up with one thick finger. Recognition flickered in Darren's mind, along with the distant scent of burned wood and cold ashes that reminded him of his past self. Who? Darren mumbled again, his thoughts still scattered. The weakness in his body was foreign. It had been decades since he'd felt like this. A quick stinging rap of knuckles against his forehead cut through the fog in his mind. Do I have your attention now, Mr. Darren Morin, or are you going to spend my lecture sleeping toward the destruction of your small career of magic and mayhem? I was talking about the 2 usages of a spell circle, and here you are. The man's voice carried the weight of authority. His receding hairline shone under the crystal lights coming from the window at the north end of the room. Where are we? Darren's eyes darted around the space, taking in rows of wooden benches filled with students in academy uniforms. Their faces showed a mix of amusement and secondhand embarrassment. Damn child, damn God, this child is going to destroy my remaining hairline. The fat man delivered another swift smack to Darren's head, his signet ring catching the light as his hand descended. Darren was about to roar in rage and grab the man's neck, intending to squeeze it into meat paste, when he realized something. He lacked a spell circle, and his hands were tiny, scrawny, and frail. What happened to me? Where am I? He muttered as he stared at his trembling fingers. A low murmur of laughter rippled through the classroom, a sound like leaves rustling in the breeze. Stop it, Darren. Focus on the lecture. A girl sitting next to him slapped his shoulder with a force that sent him sprawling forward. His forehead collided with the wooden table with a dull thud, prompting a new wave of laughter. At least he wasn't in the helm of the Eastern Paradise. No one there dared to touch him. Drink it, child, you'll feel better. The fat man tapped the air, a glass full of brown liquid materialized. The aroma of cinnamon and chocolate wafted towards Darren, comforting and familiar. But after becoming a villain hated by the whole world, he loved this drink. Oh, even after becoming a villain hated by the whole world, he loved this drink. Only one place produced it. Arcane Academy. I'm in the Arcane Academy, he murmured in shock and confusion. Nestarian Kingdom of the Seven Kingdoms. He was back there once again. Thank God you realized something meaningful finally, Colin Woolens murmured as he walked back to the podium, his heavy footsteps thudding. He held a thick book titled Basics of Spellcasting, its worn cover evidence of frequent use. Only first-year students of the Mage Academies studied this book. Chocolate drink. Darren grabbed the drink and gulped it down, savoring the thick liquid as it slid down his throat and settled warmly in his stomach. I.e., it's hot chocolate. It's cinnamon hot chocolate, is what I'm assuming. Even if this was hell or his final moment, he wouldn't miss the chance to enjoy the drink he had cherished for more than 200 years. The girl beside him jabbed her elbow into his ribs. You're acting like a fucking moron, Darren. I regret sitting next to you the first day. Her voice dripped with annoyance. If I had chosen a different place, I would be happier not stuck with you for the entire year. Darren glanced at her from the corner of his eyes. She had a common face, a flat figure, and glasses that covered half of her features. Who are you? He asked, confused. How dare you forget my name, moron? She slapped him on the back of the head, causing his vision to blur. Instinctively, his fingers twitched, almost forming the gesture for a death ray, but he quickly realized he had no spell circle, at least not one for casting a death ray. Fuck off, lady, and stop hitting me, he snapped, rubbing the back of his head where she had struck him. I will hit you all day, even cast a spell at you. A tiny spark appeared at the edges of her finger. She pressed it against his shoulder, sending a sharp current through his left arm. It felt like 1,000 needles prickling him simultaneously, and he shouted in pain. Darren Bourne, get out of my class! Colin Woolens bellowed from the podium, his wand raised and pointed directly at Darren. Darren glared at the girl, pure malice in his heart. He stood up, grabbing the worn leather bat lying in front of him, a splitting headache pounding inside his skull, and an intense hatred pulsing through his veins. If I had my powers, I'd fry your brain, bitch. Woo! He spat, his voice low and venomous as he stalked away from the desk and out of the classroom. Moron, you're thrown out again, a guy with a small beard taunted, throwing a crumpled paper at him. The paper was enhanced with wind magic, and it struck the edge of Darren's chin like a small stone, drawing a cry from him. He stumbled, his hand instinctively reaching out to rub the sore spot, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the hallway for any further threats. The bitter taste of humiliation lingered on his tongue as he walked out of the classroom. This time, Darren recalled the guy's name. Val Kraken, the star student of Arcane Academy, a student who'd made life miserable for Darren when he'd been at the academy. Darren had been thrown out of the academy at the end of that year. Wait, was he? An intense pain hit him like a searing hot knife plunging into his skull. As the hallway spun and his knees hit cold stone, Darren clutched his head. A blinding pain erupted in his head, dragging him into darkness. A memory surged to life, vivid and cruel. A friend, no, a betrayer, stood before him. Their eyes filled with icy resolve. The spell struck Darren's chest, a lance of agony that shattered his heart. Darren's eyes snapped open, sweat chilling his skin. "Not this time," he whispered hoarsely, the words a vow and a curse. Ooh, this one seems good. I think I like this one. I'm just going to read it myself instead of listening to the audiobook. I think I read it better. Let me real quick get rid of the book since we're no longer reading that one. Definitely seems really good. I've got to blow my nose real quick. I'm going to mute. Okay, a bender. Yeah. But I feel like this might be more Blockham's alley. It's a male main character, story of revenge and magic, more so than a romantasy. And frankly, I love these books, these types of books. It's like all the manhwa I read. I'll read some romance manhwa, but I kind of read regression and reincarnation and isekai manhwa much more. Okay. There's still more sample. So I'll if Locke'ms want to hear a little bit more, I'll read a little bit more. If you want. Cause I want to see a little bit more. Yes, please. Okay. Chapter 2, Reality. A sharp smell of magic and alchemy potions lingered when Darren opened his heavy eyelids. The familiar white ceiling and cream walls came into focus, the surfaces scrubbed clean and sterile. Afternoon sunlight filtered through the gauzy curtains, casting soft shadows across the room. Recognition settled in his chest, heavy and unwelcome. The Arcane Academy infirmary. Memories flooded back in like water through a cracked dam. Endless hours recovering from training injuries, magical backfires, and, more often, bullying. His stomach churned as the fragments coalesced, ending in a single, unshakable image. The spell that had killed him. A throbbing pain cracked through his skull, forcing his eyes shut. He could still see the betrayer's spell exploding through his chest, shattering his heart. He was dead. Or he was supposed to be. The friend he'd trusted the most had killed him with a death spell, bursting his heart from the inside. The magic, the power he had put his faith in, hadn't saved him. All because a single knot in his ultimate spell circle. A knot born of tangled emotions. Not this time. It would be different. The academy, the path to power, everything would be different. Damn it, kid, you scared the hell out of me. Oh, it's the old dude. Damn it, kid, you scared the hell out of me. A shadow fell across Darren's face as he blinked his eyes open again. Mr. Colin Woolen's bulk blocked the light, his crooked nose and receding hairline instantly recognizable. The professor's signet ring caught the light as he gripped the wooden bed frame, knuckles white with tension. His usually composed face was etched with concern as he leaned closer. How are you feeling? Feeling like shit, Darren wanted to say, but he suppressed the urge, pressing his parched lips together. He wasn't sure about this yet. On the surface, it seemed like he had reincarnated into his own old self, which was a magic beyond anyone's capability from his time, but he could also be moving to a parallel reality. Colin's eyes scanned Darren's face. You look well and awake. I guess I'll see you in the next class, kid. Okay. Oddly, concerned? Question mark? He patted Darren's shoulder lightly, a gesture of comfort, but also a little awkward, as if he wasn't used to physical contact. It was something no one had dared to do with Darren in the last 100 years. Darren swallowed, his throat dry and scratchy. Colin, one moment. Give me a chocolate drink, he said, his voice coming out, a weak rasp. Ordering around a teacher, that's probably not going to go well. His body was as frail as a 10-year-old kid's. Well, he had only grown into a tall man after casting a growth spell on himself, and that had happened 10 years after he'd been kicked out of the Arcane Academy. Colin's eyebrows shot up and squinted at Darren, looking comical with his crooked nose and tiny eyes. Since when did you start calling me by my name, kid? Darren chuckled dryly, the sound barely escaping his parched throat. The irony wasn't lost on him. Once, as an evil lord, he had people trembling and kneeling before him. Now, he had to show deference to a lowly mage just to get a simple chocolate drink. So be it. Please forgive me, teacher. I don't feel good yet, Darren said with a note of reluctant submission. Colin's stern expression softened. With a flick of his wand, a glass of chocolate drink appeared, the rich aroma wafting through the air, tempting Darren's senses. The drink looked as rich and delicious as he remembered, a comfort in his current predicament. Sitting up, Darren grasped the drink with shaking hands and brought it to his lips. The warmth of the chocolate drink spread through him, and he savored the taste, letting the thick, sweet liquid coat his tongue before swallowing. He drank deeply, the familiar flavor bringing a rare moment of pleasure. After half the Arcane Academy had vanished, he had spent years perfecting the formula for this very drink, a small, peaceful win in decades of carnage and war. Okay, so in the future the Academy will vanish. Interesting. Colin watched him for a moment before speaking again. Nixaria will bring you to your dorm. If you don't feel good, take a rest tomorrow. I've applied to the administrative department for your leave. The room smelled of antiseptic and was filled with the soft hum of magic-infused equipment. Colin rubbed his forehead lightly, stress and worry etched into his features. With a final nod, he turned and exited the infirmary room, leaving Darren to his thoughts. Darren closed his eyes, thinking about the events that would occur. One event was engraved in his mind, the disappearance of the academy after he'd been expelled. Footsteps forced him back to the presence. The flat-featured girl walked in through the wooden doorframe. Her glasses had slid down her nose, and she pushed them up with her left middle finger. She began scolding him as soon as she stepped in, her voice piercing. You moron! Why didn't you eat something? I warned you not to drop dead one more time, but you keep begging to fall unconscious. Shut up, lady. Darren's strained voice barely carried over the rustling sheets as he shifted against the uncomfortable mattress. Nixaria, she corrected icily. And don't think for a second I'll let you off easily. You keep collapsing like this, and I'll have to start charging you babysitting fees. I know, so please shut up. I'm not feeling well, and your annoying voice is cracking my head open. If I was at my full power, I'd have glued your tongue to your throat so you wouldn't mutter a single word in your life. Darren snapped, his eyes narrowing. Immediately, he regretted speaking. Not because he had a soft spot for her, but because it took a lot of energy. He slumped back against the pillows, feeling the emptiness of his dried meridians. The fucking moron he'd been in the past hadn't known how to cultivate mana, and now his body screamed in protest. There wasn't a drop of mana present in his system, and he felt parched inside. Nixaria's expression softened just a bit as she watched him struggle. She sighed, pulling a small vial from her pocket and placing it on the bedside table. Drink this. It'll replenish some of your energy, she said, her voice losing some of its harshness. Darren eyed the vial suspiciously, but reached for it, feeling the cool glass against his fingers. He uncorked it and downed the contents, a bitter taste flooding his mouth. He grimaced, but felt a slight warmth spreading through his body. The impure mana potion wasn't ideal, but it eased some of the dull ache of his meridians. He felt a slight relief, though the bitterness of the potion still lingered on his tongue. "Thanks," he muttered, not meeting her eyes. He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the tension just a fraction. "And moron, don't you dare talk shit to me!" How dare you talk shit to me?" she snorted, crossing her arms. "You can't even cast a simple spell, and you want to glue my tongue? Dream on, moron!" "Why do you keep calling me moron?" he protested. The fact that she had given him the potion made him hesitate to lash out completely. "It's your surname. What else are we supposed to call you?" she retorted, raising an eyebrow. "It's Morin, for fuck's sake." Darren rubbed his temples, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. Memories of the academy had lain dormant because he'd hated this place. Though he'd eventually become an evil lord who looked down on the world, the academy had brought him shame, and memories of it lay in a dust-coated corner of his mind. Even after coming back to that time, he didn't want to think about it. One of the reasons was this girl, Nixaria Tusslewood, 18 years old and a user of Storm and other spell circles. She'd shocked him so much in his first year that she'd fried his arm meridians. "Damn. Moron, it's all the same," Nixaria mumbled, a spark crackling at the tip of her fingers. Back in the first year, she could barely cast any magic herself, but she had a lightning spell circle that could fry anyone at close range. "If you keep shocking me with your magic, you'll fry the meridians in my hand," Darren snapped. He wanted to lie down on the bed and thinking about his future path, but this girl wouldn't let him have a moment's peace. "Please go back. I'll find my way." "How can I let you alone? You're my roommate, so we have to go back together." "Oh, dang. Hello, streamer and chatters. Hello. I'm reading a sample of a book to see if I want to read it for a book club for this month and December." Roommate. The word hit him like a bucket of cold water. Memories surged forward, unwelcome and sharp. Nixaria's restless nagging, her reckless experiments, and his hours of humiliation as her practice dummy. He could still feel the phantom pain of his meridians from magics that had gone wrong. From spells that had gone wrong. Book. Hydrate. Oh, I will drink soda. Book club. Yeah, so I'm reading the sample, first 2 chapters of Spellbreaker, Progression Fantasy Adventure, Arcane Academy, Book 1. It's a book that I'm, reading the first 2 chapters of, as a little example of what will be the book club book assignment for the next 2 months. Spells that had gone wrong. That's okay, Miri. It's okay. You made it to chapter 3 of the book sample for next month's book. Yeah. "Why," he muttered, slumping back against the pillows, the rough fabric scratching his skin. "Why me?" Nixaria stood at the foot of the bed, tapping her foot impatiently. "Let's go if you're feeling well. We have the first test tomorrow, and you'd better not flunk it and drag my name in the dirt." Her voice cut through his thoughts like a blade. A test. Darren's chest tightened. How was he going to pass it without being able to cast a single spell? Chapter 3. The Test. Sunlight crept through the curtains as morning announced itself with a series of raps on the wooden door. Nixaria's familiar knock. She was his desk mate and occupied the room directly beneath his in their shared 2-story house on the academy campus. The administration had the brilliant plan to have students pair up both as desk mates and housemates. It was supposed to foster collaboration and magical growth. Darren rolled onto his side, pressing his face into the cool pillow. It was a really stupid idea to have desk mates live together in a single house. He never would have chosen Nixaria if he'd known what would happen at the end of the year. But Darren hadn't had a choice. Like he hadn't had a choice when his best friend had cast a death spell on him, killing him. Darren sat up slowly, wincing as he probed the dark patch inside his meridians. The emptiness felt like sandpaper scraping against his magical pathways. Whatever mana he could afford from the potion had been used to heal the tiniest of his meridians. The thought of facing a test without his magic made his stomach clench. He would have to find a way to procure an actual mana potion to kickstart his mana cultivation. "Are you sleeping again?" She knocked more sharply this time, irritating him to the maximum. Even his girlfriend had never annoyed him like this. "Coming," Darren growled as he swung his legs over the edge of the bed and stood up, his joints popping. He shuffled to the bathroom, feeling the cold tiles under his bare feet. "Give me 10 minutes. The chill in the air bit at his skin, and he shivered at the thought of the cold shower he was about to take. He'd always insisted on this practice, believing cold water honed his focus for the day ahead. Not that he needed it at the peak of his power, when concentration could be called upon on a whim. Today, as weak as he was, he needed it the most. With his mana depleted, he needed every edge he could get. He paused, inhaling the earthy, musky scent of the bamboo pipes that delivered the water. The aroma of hot water tempted him, urging him to turn it on, but he pushed the thought away, steeling himself. "Moron, do it fast!" Nixara shouted from outside, her voice grating. "The exam starts at 9 sharp. And it's only 8. The exam hall is just 5 minutes away," Darren shouted back from the bathroom. He twisted the knob, a cascade of icy water pouring down, drenching him instantly. He gasped at the shock, feeling the cold pierce his skin and waking him up fully. Nixaria was infuriating. If she hadn't given him the mana potion the previous night, he might have considered sneaking into her room and slitting her throat. He took a deep breath, letting the cold water hammer against his body, and tried to focus on the day ahead. The exam was looming, and he needed to be at his sharpest. The cold water cascaded down from the ceiling, a neat magic trick, and flowed over his long hair and his shoulders. His body tensed as the icy stream made contact, sending a shiver up his spine. He almost reached for the hot water tap, but he persevered, gritting his teeth. The cold water did more than just wake him up. It massaged the mana channels in the outer pores of his skin. One could absorb mana through air, potions, and crystals. People preferred ambient mana, the purest form of mana. It was free, and everyone in the academy who knew 1 or 2 mana cultivation techniques. However, those were useless to him, thanks to his unique spell circle. Whilst everyone else had a standard spell circle that allowed them to absorb ambient mana and conjure common elemental spell, he had a deconstruct spell circle. One could construct spells, others could construct spells with ease, but Darren had the unique ability to deconstruct them, learn them, and improve them. This special spell circle had remained a mystery until he discovered a rare artifact in his previous life that finally revealed its secrets. Others relied on absorbing the ambient magic around them to break through stages in their training, but Darren required mana potions or crystals to reach the next realm of power. Of course, he didn't have access to any of them at this moment. Stepping out, he glanced at the image of his old self in the mirror. Thin, frail, scrawny. His body hadn't grown after age 12, and he looked more like a young teenager than an 18-year-old. People had made fun of him, bullied him, and even physically hurt him. It had only stopped after he used a growth spell on himself. "I need to get out of the academy before the event strikes, but I can't be expelled with no powers like last time," he muttered to himself. "Are you coming or not?" Nixara shouted again. "I'm coming in! If you don't mind seeing my naked form, then be my guest." Darren reached for his academy uniform. Maybe he should have killed her last night. The classroom hadn't changed since Darren had woken up there the previous morning. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating rows of students in bright yellow uniforms who turned to stare at him with judgmental stares. Their whispers followed him like trailing shadows. The original Darren had indeed been a loser, but the students didn't know who was back in his body. A snarl played at his lips as he walked to his desk. Nixara's footsteps came close behind him, her presence a constant reminder of his predicament. As soon as Darren settled into his wooden chair, the aged wood groaned under his weight. A blonde woman with hips wider than a chair strode in, her braids swaying behind her like pendulums as she moved with surprising speed. Her white robe waved in the air. Darren squinted. She was a powerful wind mage, and he didn't have to have a recollection of her. "We are here," she announced, her voice resonating with an unusual strength that carried to every corner of the classroom. Her blue eyes sparkled with barely contained energy as she shifted the stack of papers she carried. With a smile, she tossed the sheets in the air. A sudden gust of wind swept through the open window, catching the papers and directing them with impossible precision. They floated down one by one, landing perfectly centered on each student's clean, polished desk. The paper before Darren pulsed with a dim purple light, emanating a distinct tinge of mana that enticed him. Enchanted mana paper. This paper could hold rune inscriptions, and it contained more mana than it needed. Darren's eyes narrowed as he ran his finger over the smooth surface. "Do we have a runes exam?" he asked, unable to... "Alright, I'm muting you. Sir, you are testing the limits, and it is not okay." Cool. Alright. Let me just... There we go. Okay. Don't want it chilling on the screen. Okay. "Do we have a runes exam?" he asked, unable to keep the edge from his voice. Nixara pushed her glasses up, glaring at him through the slits of her eyes, irritation leaking through her expression. "Did you hit your head, moron? I told you about it last night when I took you to bed," she snapped. Darren rubbed his temples. "You can't blame me for forgetting it when you slammed my head on the table," he snorted. "Might have lost my memories when you assaulted me, lady." "It's Nixara," she corrected sternly, her voice low. The new teacher coughed hard. "You two, do you want to get kicked out of the exam?" she warned, her voice carrying a hint of authority. Darren looked down. "Who is she?" he whispered. "Miss Walhart?" Nixara whispered harshly. "Don't you dare comment on her looks, or you'll be hurting sheep for the whole first semester." She pinched him hard on the arm, her fingers digging into his skin. It almost drew a cry out of him. There would be a red mark under his uniform later. Tonight, he would end this annoyance permanently, just as he had ended countless others in his past life. One quick slice, silent and efficient. It was decided. I want everyone to carve a simple wind rune on the practice paper," Miss Walhart boomed. "If you can't achieve a 10% success rate, you will pass this exam. If you think 10% is higher than what you can do, then you are welcome to walk out of the room, as you won't be passing this exam." The room was filled with the nervous shuffling of students adjusting their papers. Darren shook his head in disappointment. Even the servants working for him could carve those. "A simple wind rune," he mumbled, barely audible to those around him. Every auxiliary thing was divided into bronze, silver, gold, and further grades, and the rune the teacher had taught him was only a bronze grade rune. "You can't even conjure mana, and yet you dare to say a simple wind rune will be easy? Goodness talking." Nixara frowned, her eyes narrowed suspiciously. Darren chuckled softly. Agreed. He couldn't conjure mana as he had no useful mana portal, but that didn't mean he wouldn't be able to carve a simple rune like this. Smiling, he picked up his rune carving tool, feeling the cold metal in his hand. It had been decades since he'd carved a rune by himself. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath and relaxed his head, letting the tension drain from his shoulders. Look at his audacity. He even dares to sleep because he can't carve the room, someone whispered behind him, followed by a chorus of muffled laughter. Moron, wake up! Nyxara hissed, jabbing him with a sharp object. The sudden pain shot through his arm, drawing a cry from him. He jerked upwards, rubbing the sore spot where he'd poked him. Darren Morin, are you eager to get out of this exam? Hi, Myra. Hi, Jerry. You have cheesecake? Give it. Give me cheesecake. I want cheesecake. I would like cheesecake. Give me cheesecake. Thank you very much. Let me see. Darren Morin, are you eager to get out of this exam? Miss Walhart's voice cut through the low hum of the classroom, her blonde braids swaying as she stepped through the rows of students and halted in front of him. I feel like I probably should, put what I'm reading. Pellbreaker. Yeah. There we go. That works. I was going to wait until the end to ask what it was. Cappuccino hazelnut? Oh. Cappuccino hazelnut sounds delicious, though. Not gonna lie. Just kinda. Her imposing, Miss Walhart's voice cut through the low hum of the classroom, her blonde braids swaying as she stepped through the rows of students and halted in front of him. Her imposing presence attracted everyone's attention to Darren, their eyes like knives. They wanted Darren to fail, to make a fool of himself. They were waiting for him to be kicked out of the class, but Darren wouldn't let them have their fun. Miss Walhart. Darren reluctantly stood up, shooting glare at Nyxara, who acted like an innocent kid. The pain in his arm still lingered, an embarrassing moment for an evil lord from the past. I'm waiting. Miss Walhart's eyes bored into him, a piercing gaze that felt like it could crack open his skull and expose the thoughts within. Despite his 200-year-old life, he had little recognition of this teacher. Rune carving had not been a subject he'd held in high regard during his time at the academy. He sighed, the heavy weight of his past misfortunes settling on his shoulder. Please forgive me. I'll carve the rune right away and walk out of the exam. A scoff escaped Miss Walhart's lips as she pushed the fingers into his chest. As if you can, Darren. He met her gaze, his pride wounded but not broken. And what if I can do it? His voice was steady. The classroom fell silent, the other students watching intently as the tension between teacher and student thickened. Oh, son, you can do shit, but not this. Rune carving is not as simple as those spells you work on, the little sparks and tiny flares. This is real, complicated magic, and that's why I expect only 10% of you to carve 10% of the rune. And what if I can carve the rune perfectly, Miss Walhart? Darren's voice was calm, but his eyes burned with challenge. A spark of rage ignited within him. Despite being reborn in a weakened state, he refused to simply accept his circumstances. She arched an eyebrow, a smirk tugging at the corner of her lips. If you do, I'll give you whatever you want. And if I want your life? The words were a remnant of his former power and the carnage he had once wrought. Though his ability has diminished, the desire to threaten and destroy still burned in his heart. The room froze. Whispers died in an instant as every head turned to Darren. His words hung heavy in the air, dripping with a menace that didn't belong in a classroom. Miss Walhart faltered for a moment. Then she leaned closer, her blue eyes boring into his. Then I hope you've brought more than empty threats, Mr. Morin. Show me what you've got. Chapter 4. The Bet. Miss Walhart stared at Darren. Essentially, this guy was an evil lord, like magic. He died and was brought back to when he was 18 at the academy. When he was 18, he was weak, couldn't use magic, blah, 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 blah. But he has his memories of 200 years of life and being an evil lord, yada yada. Miss Walhart stared at Darren, her breath drawn in and her eyes narrowing, as if trying to pierce his skull to understand his thoughts. I feel like this writer uses the same sentences over and over again a lot. Her fingers tightened around her wan knuckles, whitening, but she was merely a wind mage, not a mind mage, and his thoughts remained safely locked away. Of course I'm joking, miss. Darren chuckled, breaking the deadly silence in the classroom. He licked his lips, wetting them with his tongue. If this had been Mr. Woolen's class, he would have asked for a chocolate drink, the rich, sweet taste from earlier still lingering on his tongue, making him crave another cup. But I'm not joking, Mr. Darren Morin, Miss Walhart said, jabbing the hard tip of her wand against his chest with each syllable. If you can carve the ruin on this paper, I will give you whatever you ask, given I've the authority for it. Magic potion, he needs that. She leaned in, her blonde braids swinging forward as her stale breath hit him squarely in the face. As a wind mage, she could have easily gotten rid of the bad breath, but she didn't. A clear sign someone had pissed her off. Darren shifted in his seat and looked around, gauging the reaction from the whole class. Their wide eyes and frozen postures showed they were still holding their breaths. These kinds of confrontations were clearly too high level for their stupid first years to process. I want to access the familiar prison and contract with the familiar, he said after a brief silence, his voice steady and clear in the quiet classroom. A Fate Fortune Fire was wonderful. It had so many twists and turns, and I didn't realize that it had come out earlier this year, so book 2 doesn't exist yet. So it ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, fuck. I want access to the familiar prison and contract with a familiar, he said after a brief silence, his voice steady and clear in the quiet classroom. The entire class gasped in shock, the sound like a sudden gust of wind through dry leaves. Miss Walhart's face contorted with a whirlwind of emotion. Her lips pressed tightly as she tried to process Darren's request. She took a step closer. Why does a first year need access to the prison? She asked suspiciously. Darren met her eyes without flinching. I want to contract with a familiar. I can't generate mana, and I need a way to do it. Isn't that a sufficient reason? He asked in a steadying voice. There were 3 ways for him to generate mana. An artificial mana potion, which was impossible for now. External mana potions, a costly and an artificial mana portal, which was impossible for now. External mana potions, a costly and unreliable method, and a familiar who could provide him with the mana. The last was a low-level method everyone looked down upon, but he had little choice here. Or he could build a sigil for himself, but he would avoid that as much as he could. Miss Walhart's frown deepened, her lips pressing into a thin line. She folded her arms, her fingers tapping across her elbows as if she were calculating something. Why prison? Why not the menagerie? She asked, her tone laden with doubt, as if she could smell something fishy in Darren's request. Oh, I hit the wrong button and went away from the book. Oopsie. Where am I at? Have to reopen 'cause I clicked away. Have to reopen 'cause I clicked away. And now it's not loading. Rude. Come on. Come on. Blah, blah, blah. Load, please. I'll take a sip of soda as it loads. I also have a bit of chocolate I could eat. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to eat a little Hershey's chocolate. Yum, 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 yum. A little bit of Halloween candy. It doesn't want to. I'm gonna real quick just buy it. I'm reading this book, but I'm reading the book. If I buy it, maybe it'll load. I just have to skip through. Why prison and not the menagerie? She asked, her tone laden with doubt as if she could smell something fishy in Darren's request. Miss, do you think the Academy will allow a first-year student to contract with a level 3 and above familiar? My only hope is to find a low-level one and get out of this predicament. But if you can't help, then let's forget we even discussed this. Just treat it as a joke from my side. So I guess the menagerie has level 3 and above. Interesting. Okay. Let me really quick, there we go. It was set to double columns and I hate it. Okay. Darren gave a smug smile that he knew would piss off Miss Walhart even more. She seemed like a woman who didn't tolerate nonsense, and by raising this issue publicly, he was testing her patience. But this was the key to getting her to agree to his extravagant request. Miss Walhart's eyes narrowed, her braids moving as she shifted her weight to one hip. Why wouldn't I be able to do this? It's just, I need to file an application and see if there are a few low-level familiars trapped inside. If there are, then I'll allow it, she said, her voice tinged with curiosity. But kid, I'm interested. How do you know about the contract and stuff? She glanced around the room, her gaze sharp. Is this taught in class already? Beast manipulation is a second-year class, isn't it? A tall guy with self-proclaimed air of authority stood up, his eyes gleaming with a sense of importance. Yes, miss, it's a second-year class. Val Kraken. How could that bastard stay down when it came to Darren? Miss Walhart, it's obvious that's what's happening here, Val Kraken continued, his voice rising with allegations. He's been consorting with dark mages. How else would a first year know about the familiar prison? I shall ask Miss Walhart to arrest him and execute him right away. What the fuck? Arrest and kill the student? What the fuck? Darren chuckled. The bastard just couldn't stop, could he? If one made a list of villains in the first year, Val Kraken would be the top name. In the next couple of years, he would be joining the Dark Mages. At least, that was what Darren had heard in the future. Oh, he's been consorting with Dark Mages, we should kill him, but he's the one who ends up consorting with Dark Mages? Wow, wow, wow. Miss Walhart's lips curved into a smile as she turned abruptly to face him, her eyes narrowing. Why are you laughing, Darren? His accusation is not baseless, she chided. Darren's laughter grew harder. Miss, a cripple like me who can't even cultivate mana is trying to free a cripple from a low-level prison. Doesn't it sound absurd to you? He rubbed the back of his neck, touching the long, damp hair. Thanks to Nixara's constant nagging in the morning, he hadn't been able to dry his hair. A warming spell could have helped it perfectly. Yet you didn't say how you know about this. Darren shrugged, leaning back in his chair. I overheard some seniors talking about it, he replied, his eyes meeting hers with a hint of defiance. He could feel the cool metal of the chair's armrest against his fingers. Figured it wouldn't hurt to ask. Glad you like the reading. Miss Walhart chuckled as she turned away. She wasn't laughing at her own mistake, but just testing him, and Darren knew that very well. His 100 years of experience helped him read this woman like a blank paper. Anyway, it will only happen if you pass the test, and you can't cultivate any mana. So if you pass, then I file an application, and if you fail, I expel you from my class. You're welcome to learn some other more important subject, like scratching your arm in the foundry or dirtying your hands in the alchemy department. The classroom fell silent, but a few eyes darted to Darren, their glances curious and judgmental. They all wanted to see him fail and then laugh at him. But they would fail that day. Miserably. There was a better way to get out of her class, you moron, Nixara hissed. Leaning forward, she swung her arm to slap his back, but Darren's hand shot out and gripped her wrist firmly. One more time, and I swear I'll kill you tonight while you're sleeping, he said venomously, his low voice enough that only she could hear, his eyes bored into hers, cold and unyielding. Nixara's face paled, and a bead of sweat trickled down her temple. She snatched her arm away and turned her gaze to the front, fidgeting nervously with the edge of her sleeve. You're impossible. A low growl slipped out of her mouth. Don't bother me while I'm working. A surge of determination washed over him. It was time to show what he could do with this exam. A mere wind ruin, Darren smirked, picking up the rune-carving tool. He'd see how they handled a little surprise. Why the fuck is this entire cast just he's weak. It's an academy of magic. He can't use magic because you have to have spell circles to use magic, and you have to have absorb mana to use it. His magic is different. He has deconstructive instead of reconstructive, so instead of creating spells, he can deconstruct them. There's a manhwa that I read that is similar base character. Chapter 5, First Law of Magic. I think this will probably be the last one because I'm almost like 10% through the book. Oopsie. You guys have a good head start. Chapter 5, First Law of Magic. The paper pulsed faintly in Darren's hands, its glow rhythmic like a heartbeat. To most, it looked like ordinary parchment sold in the market to write down alchemy formulas, completed with yellowed edges and slight creases, but to him, it was a lifeline. Anticipation coated his tongue with the sweet electric taste of mana. He brushed his fingers over the rough paper. The surface felt like sandpaper against his skin, each tiny groove holding traces of power that pulsed. Around the edges of the paper, the air current moved in an erratic manner, rippling and twisting as if caught in an invisible dance. Something disturbed it. Something called mana. A general paper would crumple if one used it to practice runes, so rune carvers required mana-infused paper. However, the brute who'd made this paper had infused too much pure mana into this, so much that the paper practically hummed with excess energy. He glanced towards the front of the classroom, where Miss Walhart stood with her blonde braids swaying as she wrote on the board. She must have been the brute responsible. Miss Walhart, you have a fine test for practice papers. 10 marks for your foresight, he whispered in his mind, watching her broad figure cast shadows on the board. She had raised the difficulty of the test 10 times. She had raised the difficulty of the test 10 times by infusing too much mana into the paper. She went in to either punish students or make her subject look more difficult than it could ever be. Generic tactics, but they wouldn't work on an evil lord like him. Why are you looking at the paper like you're watching your girlfriend? Nixara asked, tapping her metal rune-carved tool on the wooden table with a rhythmic click. Did I not warn you about disturbing me? Darren's eyes remained fixed on the paper, his brows furrowed in concentration. I'd just wake you up from your weird ways, moron. You've been staring at the paper for the last 10 minutes, and you only have 50 minutes left now, she whispered, her voice raspy like sandpaper scratching metal. Darren chuckled softly, his gaze drifting to Miss Walhart, who stood on the podium, her keen eyes scanning the room. Her hips, wider than the chair behind her, made it impossible for her to sit comfortably. It was an unusual feature. This author really does repeat shit so much. I'm pretty sure they've said sandpaper 5 times, and the fact that they mentioned that her hips are wider than a chair twice now, it's very repetitive. Goodness. "Do you want some help, moron?" Nixara asked, her tone softened as she leaned closer, her breath warm against his ear. "No need." Darren tapped on the metal rune-carved tool once before picking it up. It was a shit tool. The nib was broken, and one would fail to carve any tier 2 rune using it, but he had to carve a simple wind rune, which he could do in his sleep if he had access to mana. And the paper held the key to his problem. Mana cultivation has some rules. Mana could never be created or destroyed. It could be transferred or contained. Someone had transferred ambient mana into this paper, albeit too much of it, and it had begun corroding the paper. This would interfere with the rune carving, and most of the students would fail. If Miss Walhart had only used 10% of the mana currently stuffed into the paper, this would be an excellent practice paper. The extra 90% acted like a devil, the excess mana making it impossible to carve the rune into the paper. A glance at the class showed most of the students were frustrated, their nostrils flaring, and some were even rubbing the nib of the carving tool on the wooden surface, their faces set in determined scowls. They were fucking ruining the tool. No wonder he'd gotten a broken one. Darren grabbed the carving tool and scratched the edge of the paper, where he could see the mana leaking with his bare eyes. The paper glowed with a telltale shimmer of excess energy. A simple scratch unleashed the mana stored, and it flew out like a gust of wind, making a soft whoosh as it dissipated. The air around him felt cooler instantly, and the scent of ozone lingered for a moment before fading away. Darren's fingers tingled from the released mana, a sensation not entirely unpleasant, but distracting enough to make him rub his fingertips together. He glanced over at Miss Walhart, who had walked down and was moving through the students. She seemed oblivious to the frustration bubbling among them, or perhaps she was simply choosing to ignore it. Darren moved his finger slightly, attempting to block the mana flow. However, mana couldn't be halted. According to the second rule of mana, it always flowed from a mana-rich stream to a lower one. The only exception was that one needed to trigger the flow. Otherwise, millions of mortals would perish from the mana infusion. Fortunately for them, mana didn't hurt them, nor did it pass through their bodies. But Darren wasn't a mere mortal. He possessed meridians. Though dry and nearly burnt out, they were still capable of containing mana. He took a deep breath, feeling the familiar tingle in his fingers. For most, this effort would be futile. But Darren had spent years studying ancient scriptures on mana manipulation. Taming this small amount of mana was no challenge for him. He gave his meridians and the flow of his blood a subtle nudge, and the mana began to stream into his meridians and towards his mana portal. The sensation of mana flow was like the first ray of sun breaking through after a long, dark night. It moved through his meridians with the intensity of a wild beast. After 2 centuries spent cultivating mana, Darren knew exactly how to tame this wild energy. First thing first, Darren directed most of the mana towards his fried-up meridian ends, feeling the warm, tingling sensation as they began to heal. Not a lot of healing was needed, the issue was the lack of mana. With a steady source, his meridians would naturally repair themselves in about 10 days. Unfortunately, he couldn't cultivate mana on his own, so external help was necessary. Are you losing your paper potency? Oh, are you losing your paper potency? Wait, I'll call Miss Walhart. Nixara said, her voice laced with concern as she leaned closer, her eyes scanning him. Shut up, Nixara. Let me work on this one by myself, he hissed back, irritation flaring. He shot her a sharp look, wanting her to back off. She was really annoying. Just stay in your own lane, girl, he thought. With a little nudge from his blood, Darren guided the mana towards his mana portal, where the deconstruction spell circle was etched. The sensation was like a cool stream of water flowing into a parched landscape. He couldn't store all the mana, some of it was needed for rune carving. However, the amount he managed to store would suffice for a few activations of his spell circle. Grabbing the carving tool, Darren steadied his hand. The S-curve of the wind rune wasn't complex, but it demanded precision, each stroke set to mimic the flow of real wind. Most students struggle, their tool scratching uselessly against the mana-saturated paper. But Darren wasn't most students. And who could do it better than he in his class? Well, maybe Miss Walhart could do it better for now, but once he found a familiar, he would surpass her any day. Channeling the mana he had coaxed from the paper, Darren guided the tool with practiced ease. The line glowed faintly. The line glowed faintly, his energy settling as the rune took shape. 3 minutes later, the rune flashed blue before settling into the paper. A surge of satisfaction coursed through him as he leaned back in his chair, relaxed. Now he could use the paper to cast a simple wind attack using the rune. It would only work for a few days, after which the paper would crumble. "Did you?" Nixar's eyes widened with astonishment as the rune flashed. "I told you. It's just a wind rune," Darren replied as he stood up, brushing off the small shavings from his fingers. "Miss Walhart, I've carved the rune. Please check and make the application." His voice quivered, his eyes already catching the sight of a familiar perched on his shoulder, its ethereal form assisting him in channeling the mana he needed. The future seemed nearer than he believed. The class turned silent, their eyes fixed on Darren, anticipation hanging in the air. "What a joke. Do you take us for fools, Darren?" Val Kraken chuckled, his small beard shaking with each laugh. Darren straightened, brushing the remaining paper shavings from his hand. "I don't have to take you for a fool, Val. You are a fool. You couldn't even finish the first curve, and yet you have the audacity to laugh." Val's face reddened as he gripped the carving tool, pointing it at Darren. "You—" he began, but the words caught in his throat. "You don't trust me, right?" Darren asked, his eyes locking onto Val's with a piercing gaze. He knew people like Val Kraken, quick to anger, always ready for a fight at the slightest provocation. Darren too wanted to fight. They were easy to get from people like Val. "Of course, I don't trust a cripple," Val spat, his voice trembling with barely contained rage. "You're cheating, and I'll prove it." Darren's expression remained calm as he turned to Miss Walhart, who stood at the front of the class. "Miss, would it be a problem if I tried this out on Val? Please give me your permission." Miss Walhart frowned, her eyes narrowing. The room became quiet. The only sound the rustling of papers and the distant chirp of birds outside the window. "Miss, please let him do it. I'll prove he cheated, then you can expel him," Val interjected, his eyes gleaming with anticipation as he looked at Miss Walhart. Miss Walhart glanced between the two boys, her lips pressed into a thin line. After a tense moment, she gave a curt nod of approval. "I'm allowing this for demonstration purposes, kids, so don't make a fool out of yourself." She stared at Darren, maybe hoping he would give up. "Come, Darren, show me what you've got." Val snickered, walking towards the podium. Darren walked to the podium, his footsteps scuffing softly in the now silent room. A couple of students hastily cleared the desk, pushing papers and books aside to make space for a quick duel. The air was thick with anticipation, and everyone focused on the unfolding scene. They were only going to use a simple rune, so no one bothered setting up wards or making more space. "Are you ready to fail, Darren?" Val chuckled, his teeth flashing wider than ever while he rubbed his knuckles menacingly. A clear signal that he intended to beat Darren up later if things didn't go his way. Darren squared his shoulders, meeting Val's gaze with unwavering determination. "Are you ready, Val? Don't blame me when my rune smacks you against the wall behind you," he warned, his voice steady. The room rippled with laughter, including a rare amused smile from Miss Walhart. She leaned on a desk, the wood cracking under her weight. "I've warned you, so you can't blame me for not warning you," Darren reiterated firmly. He then placed his hand on the rune paper, feeling the rough texture beneath his fingers. With a deep breath, he pushed a tiny amount of mana he'd stored in his mana portal into the rune paper. The air cracked with energy, a low hum resonating through the room as the rune began to glow. The S rune pulsed with blinding white light, causing the students to shield their eyes. A violent gale erupted from the paper, scattering loose papers and sending chairs scraping across the floor before slamming into Val's chest with the force of a battering ram. Val's tall frame lifted from the ground, his small beard whipping in the wind. His expression transformed from confusion to terror, his eyes wide with betrayal as he sailed backwards through the air. The sickening crack of his impact against the stone wall made several students gasp. "Darren, what the hell did you do to him?" Miss Walhart's braids whipped around her face as she sprang into action. Her fingers traced precise patterns in the air, summoning a counter-cyclone to cut through the chaotic wind still pouring from the ruin. The opposing force created a low, whistling howl. With her careful manipulation of air currents, her winds lifted Val's limp form and drew him towards her, his boots scraping across the floor. She pulled a crystal from her bag and ran it over Val's body with practiced movements. The device hummed softly before displaying green indicators. Her shoulders visibly relaxed, though her voice remained sharp with, "What did you do? Attacking a first-year student like this? This will get you expelled!" Miss Walhart's gaze burned into Darren, her lips pressed into a thin line. Darren smirked, his lips curled with a hint of arrogance. "I did nothing, miss. I warned him that my magic would throw him against the wall, but he didn't listen. His ego hurt him more than my simple ruin." He spoke each word deliberately, the weight of his 200 years evident in his tone. His eyes locked onto Miss Walhart's with a defiant intensity, and he crossed his arms. The room felt charged, with the students ready to burst into a discussion at any time. Darren stood firm, prepared to take anything coming at him. He was done taking shit. If he got expelled for this, so be it. Alright, that is all I'm going to read because we made it 10% into the book. Tee-hee. So, Spellbreaker, a progression fantasy adventure, will be November, December, book club book. So we will have a book club in December, at the end of December, or so. And, yeah. Thank you for reading. It was great. I'm sold. Hell yeah. You know, and it's literally like, $5 on, goodness words, on Kindle. And I guess $5 on Audible to listen to it with narration. Yum, 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 yum. Let's see. Let me go back to this book real quick. It definitely seems interesting, right? Right? Let me see. Because I almost want to think it's saying that this book is meant for kids. Because there was underneath was, it has, Coke Zero. Like, oh, kids' books. I'm like, is this a kid's book? I'm pretty sure he's already cursed. Like, I feel like, no. Okay, so I guess this is, so the category of, like, returner stuff is lit RPG fantasy. So literature RPG. Just Coke. Oh, thank you, ChatGP, for following. Thank you. Like the book art and stuff is reborn as the weakest mage. He once ruled the world, now they laugh at him. That won't last long. Evil Lord is back. So it's magical academy, anti-hero protagonist, past life knowledge, progression fantasy, bonding with animal companion are like some of the tags. I'm already out of cherry. I drank all the rest of the cherry Coke. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. Alright, so I'm gonna end stream here, and then in an hour, see you on Fun Play. Alright, cockums. Bye. Boop, 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 boop. Aw.